first story I want to get into tonight. Recently, Kyle Brandt, who's a co-host of Good Morning Football on the NFL Network, he and his co-host, they were talking about the Cleveland Browns and what their chances are of competing this year in the tough AFC. And the discussion came up was, are the Browns being overlooked as far as the AFC? Now, Kyle Brandt says that the reason why that the Browns are being overlooked is because of DeShaun Watson, and basically said the Browns are unwatchable and hard to root for because of Watson. Oops. Change that title. Okay, so here's the audio clip of what he said. I'll be back with the rest of my take.
I don't think they're overlooked. Two things. I get tired of hearing the no one's talking about team this time. Every team is being talked about. It's August. Yep. It's the NFL in America in 2023. Yeah. We've done many segments about the Browns. We've had many segments where like, maybe we should talk about the Browns. Some of the sentiment that Peter just had, we've had 1,000 times. Yeah. Like, their quarterback and their pass rush and their coach. And like, there's people out there who will be like, I'm the one talking about this team. It's what I get back to about sports media right now. Like, it's not enough to be right. You have to be the only one who's right. So
I was on it early.
Yeah, like I had this first. No, you didn't. We're all talking about the NFL. The Browns are being talked about a lot, so no, they're not being slept on. We have lined up this Browns discussions. We're starting the show with one. The other thing is wildly different, and I'm just going to be completely candid here, cards on the table. I still think the Cleveland Browns are difficult to talk about, let alone hype, because of their quarterback. Look, DeShaun Watson, I believe, did some really creepy things off the field and then got the largest contract in NFL history, and it's part of the conversation. Look no further than the preseason game when the venerable Chris Collinsworth did his best attempt to describe what DeShaun Watson had gone through, chose words that people didn't like to describe it, and he was criticized for it. That's merely just him trying to get the viewer up to speed of what went on in DeShaun Watson's life. I think it's difficult. You have to compartmentalize, and that's our job as broadcasters, and we do it almost every time with DeShaun Watson. It's football, it's in the past, it's all of that. But as you as a human being or an NFL fan, you get to choose who you get to root for and whose jersey you get to buy. So if you're not comfortable buying DeShaun Watson's jersey or rooting for him or hyping him or drafting him on your fantasy team, I think that is part of the Browns discussion. Maybe it'll become less so as we move on, certainly if they keep winning. But I would also look no further than, I think it's difficult for the Browns to talk about DeShaun Watson. Look at the Browns' official Twitter accounts. It's not a lot of their star quarterback with the biggest contract in NFL history. He's there, but like if you look at the Bills with Allen or the Chargers with Herbert, it's like our quarterback, and it's the slow motion QB1. And stuff's not there. And I sympathize with those people who have to run that account because it is difficult. And the times they do put DeShaun Watson stuff, the comments are not pretty, and nor should they be. So I feel difficult because I feel there's a lot of good people working for the Browns and a lot of good players, but this is part of the discussion. It's not something you just snap your fingers and say, yeah, I love it, I'm totally in, I love this guy, I love this team. It's very difficult to do. We're going to try to keep it to football, but it's still hard.
Now, here's my take. To me, Kyle Brandt was not genuine in his take. In fact, he was very disingenuous. It seemed like his take came off as he's trying to, play to the crowd, cater to the side that's all against DeShaun Watson, just so, just so basically he could just get clickbait because he knows that take would drive a lot of clicks and views, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever social media site. And also, it's like, most of us want to move on from it, especially Browns fans and football fans, because it's already been talked about. It's out there already. We know what it is. Unless there's some new details or allegations that come about, what's the point of keep on drumming it up every 5 seconds? It's like you're beating a dead horse. And also, it's kind of fun. It's also funny that they love to say that he's saying that the Browns are hard to hype up and talk about because of Deshaun Watson. Listen, did y'all have a problem with hyping up the Steelers despite the fact Big Ben was accused of rape by two women? Did y'all have a hard time hyping up the Chiefs after Tyreek Hill was accused of abusing his own son? And then later on, Andy Reid's son, who was on the coaching staff, messed around, was drunk driving that ended up killing the kid. Y'all weren't saying that the Chiefs were hard to talk about because of those situations. Hell, y'all weren't saying the Bengals were hard to talk about because Jackson Carman committed statutory rape against a 15-year-old girl, or Joe Mixon recently, was accused of menacing. Yes, he was found not guilty, but he pulled a gun on a woman and a teenager. Y'all weren't yelling that the Bengals were hard to talk about because of those situations. But it's like, it's redundant. It's like, why keep on bringing it up every 5 minutes? But you know why they keep on bringing it up? Because one, Kyle Brandt, he works for the NFL Network. Who runs the NFL Network? The owners. And we all know that last year when Deshaun Watson was traded to the Browns and got that $230 million contract fully guaranteed, that pissed a lot of owners off in the NFL. And from what I heard, that the Haslams were not welcomed with open arms at those owners meetings down in Florida after they had, gave Watson that deal, because they basically reset the market on how teams pay for their quarterbacks. And they're still pissed off about that contract because now all the owners had to give their quarterbacks similar, if not the same deals. Jalen Hurts just got his money. Lamar Jackson, he just got his money. Joe Burrow, next year or year after next, his deal is up. Justin Herbert just got his money. So, the Haslams, they are public enemy number one in the eyes of all the other 31 NFL owners, because they changed the way how you sign a quarterback to a deal. Because now all these quarterbacks are that's elite, they're going to demand the same type of deal or a similar type deal. Josh Allen ended up getting his new deal right before Deshaun Watson got his, so that's a different story. But that's what this is really about. And Kyle Brandt, he's just doing the bidding of the owner since he works for the NFL Network and they run the network, because they're still outraged over the contract. And also, like I just said, it's like, why keep bringing it up during a preseason game or a regular season game? We know the story already. It's like beating a dead horse. It's definitely like beating a dead horse. And also, as far as the whole social media thing, like you can't compare Watson to Allen and Herbert because they've been with their teams for a number of years. They were playing last year. Deshaun Watson only had 6 games, and prior to those 6 games, hadn't played football in over 2 years. And if they were showing all those highlights, you would be the main one sitting up getting mad at the people who run the Browns Twitter account for showing all those highlights because of what he was accused of. And also, another thing that's getting on my damn nerves is this selective morality and the selective outrage. It's like, keep the same energy across the board. No crime is bigger or smaller than the other. Both are bad. Like I said, nobody talks about the Bengals still having guys like Jackson Carman on their team or Joe Mixon, with the allegations that they've had set forth against them. Y'all still talk about them. Y'all still praise them as being great teams. Also, it didn't stop the Steelers from getting talked about and being on national TV when Ben was going through his situations and after his situations. Matter of fact, the final 2 years of his career, a lot of y'all waxed poetically about his career. Y'all never brought up that man's allegations. But no matter what Deshaun Watson does, especially this upcoming season, he could have one hell of a season and put up all kinds of numbers. I bet my last dollar they would not name that man comeback player of the year or most improved player. I can bet on it. They are not going to give that award to him. Definitely wouldn't give that award to him. But yeah, Kyle Brandt, man, you just being disingenuous, dude. Very disingenuous. It's like, man, the man served his suspension. He's done he's definitely completed all the guidelines set forth by agreed upon, by the NFL and the NFL Players Association. There hasn't been any new accusations that came up since he's been in Cleveland. And for the most part, to this point, he's been a model citizen. So all we want to do is just get off of this story and just move on to some football. Because it's time. It's definitely time to move on from this story. We've been talking about this for over a year and a half. Move on. Okay? You didn't get the full year suspension that you wanted. Big deal. Move on.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUs.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.